I've loved every side of commentary. Reason why? Because I'm not somebody that just takes a side right away. I like to take some time. I like to dig a little deeper. I like to find why I might see something differently or why they might see something way that I didn't originally see it. And this is one of those cases for me. I haven't said it a lot, but I actually like Drake. All right. I don't like what Drake's doing right now. It's for people that are fans of Drake, old Drake, Drake in the middle, Drake towards the end, whatever Drake that she appreciate the most, whatever, right? You also love hip hop. That's more than like, all right, how you got introduced to hip hop if you are a younger crowd with Drake is what I'm saying. Not saying that I got introduced to hip hop by Drake, saying that Drake is quote unquote a byproduct of what hip hop overall is, even though Drake in his own ways kind of was able to pass a lot of boundaries with that. Now, listen, with this lawsuit, as much as I want to sit here and try to defend the guy, I'm not doing it because I love hip hop ultimately. One thing that I learned in hip hop is that you got to take shit on the chin. Now, again, I know we're supposed to sit here and, well, Drake is a big entity. It's one of the biggest who did this, he did that. It's defamation. He said this, that, and the third, and not like us. But if it was the other way around, right? And Kendrick was doing this, do you know how much heat would be on Kendrick? Now, feel like in the same breath, and I've said this on a multitude of videos, I do believe that the hate for Drake has gotten very excessive. I think that everything he does has something to hate on or hate of what he is doing, why he is doing it. There's just always a reason to not like whatever the fuck is going on. But again, let's get to the core of this shit. Man, I am hurt because I actually like Drake as an artist. This isn't talking about the way Drake moves or anything like that. Drake has shown that he has had the goalpost move for him so much that now that it hasn't moved for him at all, now that he is in a position that I would say is what kind of sort of similar to what Kanye went through, as much as you dislike Kanye, you dislike Kanye's views, the way he goes about his life, is his rants, whatever the case may be. One thing you can't take away from Kanye is the musical genius, the fashion icon made himself into, right? As much as now it's easy to talk shit about what Kanye is doing, there was a lot of things that made Kanye look crazy. And I feel like for Drake fans, that is what is happening right now. Drake trying to stand up for his right, trying to stand up for whatever, is making himself look crazy in the process. It doesn't matter about the business side of things. I know this business angle that's been constantly taken about, but what about the business of Drake? What about this? Man, not like us really defamed what Drake was and da 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 da. Do we forget what the beef was? Do we forget what Drake said in the beef? Do we forget what Taylor Made freestyle was and how he used Potter's voice to essentially say, hey, you want to use the underage thing? Use the underage thing. Go ahead. Go ahead. Use it. It ain't gonna do nothing. And it's hit way more than what he wanted it to. And this isn't even the problem. See, everybody is looking at this all wrong. They're looking at it as if Not Like Us was so big or Not Like Us did so much damage to Drake. No, Drake did the damage to Drake. Drake has continued to do the damage to Drake. If you think about past beefs, once somebody sits the fuck down, shuts the fuck up, or just puts out music and does what they do, or they get on their mobile shit like a Jay, for example, Jay lost to Nas. To this day, people will tell you, a lot of the OGs that were active at that time will tell you, Jay lost to Nas. And it was very obvious. And even the apology, all that shit, it was there. But once Jay continued to move, didn't really talk, not talking too much about it. We all know the rivalry between Jay and Nas, how prominent that's been for as many years as it was. Like that shit was going for some years, right? I know that I know that for the most part, there was the crowd that believed that Jay-Z one would take over. And then, of course, the Super Ugly came out and he apologized and all that shit. The masses had already gave East the win, right? No matter if you look at it later and say, oh shit, Takeover was really fire. Now, listen, this lawsuit just looks so fucking bad. It looks like a convenient thing, and as much as you can find every angle on why it might make sense for Drake to be doing it, you can also find every angle for why it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I've talked about this lawsuit, but for me, I want to just break down something. I remember in views, trying to remember. Oh, was it Western Road Flows when he said that he was going to retire by 35 years old? I don't think any of us really thought he was going to retire by 35 years old. But don't you kind of wish he would have, like with everything happening now, don't you kind of wish that Drake just would have went away for a second? Like Drake was so prominent, so in our face constantly, right? And again, did all of that just to kind of come up empty at the end. And that was a lot of his own doing. He did a lot of unraveling, a lot of house of card type of relationships and friendships that he had built that he thought were these strong bonds. But then when things really came to head, we see what really happened. We seen true colors, whatever you want to say. And honestly, Drake's true colors, a lot of what Drake actually was, a lot of his thought process and the way that he's been kind of perceived amongst a lot of these hip hop artists. Let's be completely honest. Like, I know it's hard for Drake fans to believe that Drake was the system at a point, but Drake was the system at a point. Drake was everything that Kanye was complaining about at a point. And I understand this and see this more and more. I'm not allowing Drake to come and try to complain about Kendrick getting Not Like Us played however many times, because it true or not, boy, you was the system for how long? How long was you the one that we all had to listen to on every radio station, on Spotify? It didn't matter what genre of music you were in, there was always a "This is Drake" Spotify right there for you to click. I'm not saying it ain't there no more, but it ain't as prominent as it once was. They had to sue Spotify because Drake was everywhere. That is what Drake was at a point, and I think because he had so much manpower, or I guess so much power as one man, it got to his head. Do not talk to me, and I'm gonna take a little bit out of Joe Budden's. Well, do not mob tie me to death. I felt that wholeheartedly. Why? I hate that there was this convenient mobster that turned into somebody that's willing to sue over what he perceives to be defamation. Now, again, I know people have their own perceptions. I know people look into legal matters like this more often than I do. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the nuts and crannies of everything in the lawsuit. But for the overarching thing of Not Like Us, not Kendrick necessarily, but Not Like Us and what UMG did to, I guess, extend what Not Like Us did, I I still do believe that Kendrick had you. I believe that wholeheartedly. But who cares? Drake had it for how long? I didn't care then, and I don't care now. I did. The machine is the machine. Whoever gets to use it, the others are always going to find a reason for why it shouldn't be used for them, and they should be used. It should be used for that person. It should be used for them. I'm over it. I'm over it that every artist in their own ways and in their own rights, especially the ones that make great music, are fucking ego filled. And they believe that they deserve everything. They believe that the music industry is theirs because they've had their hands in music industry and know the ins and outs and all that shit. Yeah, you know the ins and outs, but you're not gonna come and ultimately be the one to be pressing buttons. That's not what's gonna happen. And that's exactly what happened with Drake. There's a long line of shit that needs to be talked about with just building up to this. I mean, again, I've said, and I'm going to say it again, even though I've said it so many times, 5, 6 years for me, 5, 6 straight fucking years of hating Drake, not hating Drake, but just the music, the way he was moving. And I'm like, maybe it's because I'm in a relationship now and I'm, whatever. No, a lot of people that are defending him are people that like are on his left and right nutsack constantly, and there's no way you get them to fucking understand. And it's like, all right, okay. And then when you are sitting there and you're the final person that died on the hill of Drake, because for some reason it's hard for people to let go. Like people really grieve for Drake. I get it. Drake went into this saying he was unfuckwittable. Nothing was going to take him away. Like he's a public image. Everybody knows what Drake does. Again, the tailor-made freestyle. He talked this shit, well, essentially lined up what Kendrick was going to use against him. All right, see, that happens. But even though he knew exactly what was going to happen, he didn't know the impact it was going to have. And it's hard for him to accept. It's hard for Drake to accept that he did a lot of this shit to himself. Again, not like us would have hit, not like us would have been a summer banger, not like us might have won a Grammy. You think about Meek Mill, right? In a lot less of a way than what Drake is right now. He was the laughing stock for a while, and I can't really give credit right now because, you're still kind of in that position. But there was a point. Remember when 1942 Flows came out? He was going through that prison case where the case where a four-wheeler and Judge not liking him, and we were all rooting for him, and then him and Drake got back together and did Going Bad, and yeah. Again, I brought up Jay. Jay, we see where he is. We see the light that we put him in for the most part in hip hop. Like, there is a way to respectfully and to honorably lose, and he is not doing that at all. And again, I think this was really well said by Joe Budden. I didn't take everything I just said from that. I was watching it and it gave me the idea, like, yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel that I need to talk about too. But one thing that they did talk about is that Drake it really made Not Like Us seem like the best diss track of all time with the way that he's gone about it after everything has occurred. And that's a scary place to be. It's a scary place to be because it's just going to constantly have the stain on it. You can't go and listen to Mob Ties. You can't go and listen to these mafioso or these Italianos. Like, can't listen to that shit the same. Like, I really felt that. Like, it's hard for me to go. I used to love listening to Drake. Like, that was a big. He was in my top listens for a long time, and it's hard, man. I cannot, with the right mind, go and listen to that Drake anymore because when things have gotten hard for him, he's always had an excuse. Same thing happened with Pusha T. And I wanted to believe wholeheartedly he had a point, but he didn't. It's fucking rap. It's a rap beef. And beef, no holds barred. That is exactly what beef is. You cannot be sitting there, shit. Like, you can't be doing that and then be over here in this realm where you have to uh pose a diss track, and then you have your own disrespectful things, like how you talked about his relationship with his woman and how that relationship might relate to physical things happening and shit. Like, your words just didn't hit the way that his words hit, and you're salty about that shit, Drake. You're salty as fuck. You are. I don't give a fuck. Drake is so salty. He's so like he just makes himself look like a small ass peon. Like, you really could not take. He couldn't, and I'm not. I can't respect that. I don't care. I don't care. Go ahead, say what the fuck you say, because at the end of the day, that's y'all's man's. Like, I love what Drake used to put out, what used to put out old Drake. I hate this shit now. Dude, I am I'm good. I am good. I'm not about to sit here and fight for somebody that ain't fighting for themselves. You're not about to try to put a lawsuit in my face and say, hey, look, this lawsuit is because look, the artists are using machines. You see, like my guy, you've been using machines for how long now? We're not stupid. We're not stupid. We are not stupid. This is why for a lot of us, we're like, so what? Who cares? Like, like you've been doing this already. You already were using the thing to already was putting yourself in positions to always see no matter what you wow, like stop it. You ain't fighting for nobody but yourself. And this is why I'm tired of these ego filled as artists. I am just having one of those rants and one of those times where I had to come and just be honest overall about this whole situation because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with it. It's overkill with this man. Needs to go sit the fuck down. I'm gonna say this one last time. Go sit the fuck down, Draco. Make some goddamn music. Do some links. Do something. Goddamn. Do too much. You do too much. Any talking. Stop going on streams with these streamers. Don't care. Your aura ain't the same. You saying they anyways. Look at me. Nobody cares. Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. Trust it was. Have a good day. Tell your man to get the fuck out of here.